Telescope viewers, welcome to This Week in Turkey. This evening our guest will be Professor Öner Günçavdı, joining us to speak about the disappearance of $128 billion from the central bank reserves. But first, let's take a look at the developments of the week. On April 21st, President Erdogan fired Trade Minister Ruslan Pekcan over a nepotism scandal, dismissed the Minister of Family, Labor and Social Services, Zehra Zümrüt Selçuk, and split the ministry into two separate branches.
Announced in a late-night decree, President Erdogan fired Trade Minister Ruslan Pekcan over growing accusations of nepotism. This came following a report by Oda TV that revealed the procurement of 9 million Turkish lira worth disinfectants to the Trade Ministry from the Minister Pekcan and her husband's company. Pekcan denied any wrongdoing, insisting that the company had made the lowest bid. Pekcan was replaced by Mehmet Muş, a parliament member for the ruling Justice and Development Party. There was no official reason given regarding this dismissal. On the same night, a different decree by Erdogan announced that the Minister of Family Affairs, Labor and Social Security, Zehra Zümrüt Selçuk, was replaced, and the ministry had been separated into two different ministries. In this new layout, lawyer Derya Yanık has been appointed as the new Minister of Family Affairs, and Erdogan's advisor, Vedat Bilgin, as the new Minister for Labor and Social Security. These sudden changes in Erdogan's cabinet drew attention to the ongoing rumors about a cabinet reshuffle in Turkey. Political commentators and journalists are looking at the upcoming weeks, expecting further changes in the cabinet to take place with more high-level appointments. Medyascope editor-in-chief Ruşen Çakır commented on the implications and importance of Erdogan's dismissal decision. There is an interesting factor at play in the Ruslan Pekcan scandal. We know that Erdogan has always tried to protect the names that the opposition has targeted and accused, both during his time as prime minister and as president. He served as a shield to the names that were involved in all sorts of allegations, especially those concerning corruption. He did not sacrifice them. Instead, he gave them time. Instead of dismissing a couple of people from their positions during the time of campaigns running against them, he dismissed them a year or two after, or put them in different positions. The case of Ruslan Pekcan is perhaps a first by its definition. The Ministry of Trade made an announcement a day before the dismissal decision. The announcement does not have any means of reliability or persuasiveness. Then she was dismissed from her position. Will there be an investigation regarding this scandal? I don't think so. But under normal circumstances, an investigation needs to be conducted both about the minister herself and about the disinfectant company. There is nothing yet, and I doubt that anything of that sort will happen. Let's just say it would be good if it were to happen.
The debate surrounding the whereabouts of the $128 billion missing from the central bank's foreign exchange reserves continues this week as government officials finally started to respond to the allegations. The main opposition, CHP, has been running a campaign by hanging posters that draw attention to the $128 billion decrease in the central bank reserves. This week, Central Bank Governor Şahap Kavcıoğlu, Finance Minister Lütfi Elvan, and the AKP's economy head, Nurettin Canikli, all attempted to explain how the money was spent, yet the explanations raised even more questions than answers with regards to the disappearance of the money. While no plausible explanation was provided on where the money went, President Erdogan accused the CHP of trying to harm Turkey's reputation and credibility with its campaign. This evening, Professor Öner Günçavdı joins us to discuss this economic conundrum.
Hello, Professor Günçavdı. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to your program. Thank you.
So, Professor, where is the $128 billion has been the question asked by the opposition, particularly for a couple of weeks now, and government officials have been scrambling to find a legitimate response. Could you please, first of all, tell us what exactly is the opposition asking the government to clarify?
Opposition is, in fact, is asking where and how to use that money. All right, in last 2 years. Actually, we knew this problem before as an economist, but it came to the public opinion recently due to the opposition's campaigns about the also the thanks to government to intervene the problem and lowering down the banners hanged by the opposition, parties all over Turkey. In fact, the problem goes back to the time period before the elections, local election. The government, you see, in fact, the president, Tayyip Erdogan, has a economic idea, economic theory, saying that the high interest rate is the cause of high inflation in Turkey. All right. In order to prove that theory, all right, the central bank intervene constantly to the exchange rate market by selling off the large amount of foreign exchange and to hold the exchange rate is stable. But the problem is not the intervention by the central bank. It could be possible, all right? It is a matter of political choice, all right? We are not able to say that this is against the law, all right? It is a political choice, and the AKP is in power, and they have the right to intervene in the market, all right? But the responsibilities of that sort of, intervention is a political, of course, political responsibility, all right? We can argue that I don't agree with this intervention. I think it was wrong, but it is, again, their choice to intervene. This is one issue, all right? There are a couple of issues in this, campaign, actually. There's sometimes the public, mixed up, all right? The second issue, the way of intervention, the method, all right? That method, all right, is given by law and rules and our past experiences, all right? It's the boundary of that intervention is drawn by law and by experiences, all right? Also, you need to take into consideration of the economic framework, institutional framework that we are in right now. This is the problem. Well, I know the issue is economic issue and sometimes becomes so difficult to explain to the general, audience, all right? But I had to say a couple of things in technical. Well, in a floating exchange rate or free exchange rate regimes, all right? The two different policy tools has to be, separated from each other. We have, as an economist, we have two tools: monetary policies, all right, and the fiscal policies. Central bank is the responsible for the monetary policy, all right, and the treasury and the government is the responsible for the fiscal one, all right. But these are these two policies have to accommodate to each other and but not substitute, all right? They can, support each other, all right? So in this case, the central bank, all right, prefer to support the treasury, and then they leave that responsible to the treasury to intervene to the foreign exchange market instead of doing itself, all right? Usually, the central banks, open an auction with the participation of the all banks, all, institutions available in the systems, all right? And they ask how much money they would need and how, and also the cost. And then the transparency of these auctions and the way of intervention is the crucial one. The central bank has to be transparent and has to be accountable to the public, all right? The reason for this condition is that, central bank with this intervention doesn't want to deteriorate the conditions in the market, existing market. But if you intervene through the treasury, all right, The first of all, you are not able to be transparent enough. We don't know what sort of mechanism is available between these two. In fact, it wasn't the responsibility of Treasury, all right? And then second thing, Treasury give that money to the public bank, not the all participants in the market, and therefore that deteriorate the conditions in the market. And the government, officials and spokesmen came forward recently and say that, they sold that money at the market rate. Well, you are not able to see that. They try to hold the exchange rate at a certain price. As far as I'm concerned, it was a 6.8 Turkish lira or something similar. All right, but assuming that is the market rate. But with this, type of intervention, you are not able to see that rate is actual rate in the market, all right, without doing any auctions, all right. Auctions is the way of, determining the price according to the market conditions, not to direct intervention as the central treasury did in 2 years' time. Well, this is the main issue. Of course, that sort of unaccountable and intervention raise lots of political question as well, all right? And I think the opposition party and some economists in Turkey suspect that the treasury, all right, gave that money to particular public bank to hold the price at a certain rate. Somebody obviously decided that that will be the rate in the market, and then with these facilities, all right, the public bank open a credit channel to some companies, all right, preferred companies, all right. They make the life easier, especially the borrowing easier and cheaper, costless, all right, to those companies. I think the main suspicions was the use of credit by 5 different contractors, all right, in Turkey. I think this is the motives behind it. Anyhow, well, we knew, as I said earlier, we knew these procedures, all right? We knew the interventions by the central bank and the treasury, but the problem, it wasn't in the public, attention at that time, 2 years' time. Well, there was another reason for that intervention as well. As I said earlier, it was just before the election. Well, in the Turkish public, the inflation rate as well as the foreign exchange rate are taken as an indication of good conduct of the macroeconomic policies. If you have a higher exchange rate, the people think that things are going worse in the country. All right. Also, the dependency level of Turkish economy is so high, and therefore exchange rate. In other things, that the dollar and other foreign exchange rate are the medium of savings in Turkey as well, especially if you are not able to hold the price stability, all right, provided price stability, and the people, use the foreign currencies as the medium of saving or a store of values, all right? This is another problem. Well, just before the election, the government, all right, tried to hold try to provide the stability in the foreign exchange rate with the expectation of, convincing the people about the good conduct of the economy, good governance of the economy. But in the end, it wasn't, the story has changed during the election, and they were not able to get whatever they were thinking earlier, all right? And then they lost the big cities in the end, all right? Maybe it was late for, in fact, maybe the people, public opinion are fed up with the tension strategies and the political discourse of the party in power.
Mhm.
I don't know if it is appropriate enough.
Yes, Professor. Thank you so much for kind of giving us a summary as well as explaining the relationship between the central bank and the other kind of the Ministry of Treasury and so forth. However, I mean, as you also mentioned this week, government officials have been trying to respond to this question. And there have been a lot of officials essentially responding. I mean, we've had Lütfi Elvan, Nurettin Canikli, and even President Erdogan himself who made suggestions or who commented on the issue. Yet I'm assuming here that essentially the person who is supposed to explain this or provide an explanation to the public should be the central bank governor himself, since the central bank is an independent entity. If I'm, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
So I mean, all these explanations that we've received this week, and you've suggested where the money was spent and who received it and so forth. Are these explanations coherent and consistent? And will they have to? I mean, what do we understand from the various statements made this week?
I think that statements are another reason why this debate is so persistent in the public agenda, all right? Because they are contradict with each other, all right? And they are not true what they said. In fact, every statements, falsify the previous one. As you said, I think the actual addressee of these, criticisms should be the central bank, must be the central bank. The reason is that, the issue is very technical, and the answer has to be technical as well, not the political. The central bank answered this, problem, these questions, without giving the detail. I think the reason for that, the central bank think that, this is a political issue. Well, of course, and the central bank is a technical, institution, has to deal with the technical issues, all right? But the problem of the 128 billion US dollar, reserve issue is a political, all right? Therefore, it is very difficult to come up with a satisfactory explanation from the central bank. But the problem that we see at the moment is the quality of the economic staff in power, all right? Well, this explanation, even it is in technical explanation, has to be done by the politicians who are able to answer the question in a technical details. But so far last week, what we saw is that, they are not satisfactorily qualified people, all right? Whatever they said are contradict to each other, as I said, all right? They are not able to come up with the right answer. Well, in the end, last Wednesday, the President Erdogan came forward and they put the final words, and saying that, from now on, there will be no discussion and then no inquiries regarding this money. But this is not the thing that works in the financial markets, all right? The market says the last words, all right? Well, as you saw 2 days ago and yesterday, and there was a fluctuations in Turkish lira again, all right, because of the external shock. The reason, number one reason, is the lack of, reserve. The market is constantly testing the Turkish, political party in power and the central bank, whether they are able to intervene the market as they did before. But they are not able to do that because we don't have enough, reserve. Well, thanks God, there wasn't so, huge fluctuation and shocks in the market, and therefore we didn't need extra intervention. But without any satisfactory amount of reserve, we left, the government left with just one option to defend the Turkish lira. I'm afraid that option is the interest rate options. Well, if there is any, fluctuation again in Turkish lira without any money to intervene, the only choice is to increase the interest rate in
Which
the future.
is something that Erdogan does not want to do.
That's right.
So they will have to go to a change in economic policy, because this is essentially unsustainable. Because I mean,
it is unsustainable. But personally, I believe that they don't have any chance to change any economic policies. They have to go like this, all right, until the end. I don't know when, but there is no any chance to change or maneuver. They don't have any room to maneuver their policies anymore. They are stuck in this position at the moment.
So then, Professor, I mean, wherever this money went, essentially it's gone. And especially at a time now, with the pandemic ongoing, increasing poverty, unemployment, limited aid to individuals. I mean,
yes.
I know you said, this is a very technical matter, but there are very, real conditions on the ground, which affects the livelihood of the people. So what does this loss or the disappearance of this money entail for the Turkish public, and what risks are we facing due because of this disappearance?
It exposes us to international shocks. I mean, in the positions of the Turkey in the international market, as well as in the political scenes, is not sustainable, all right? You see, I mean, there's a dispute in Black Sea region and Mediterranean and in Europe. And I don't remember any country without any problem around us. So in that, most importantly, we have a problem with the United States and the countries in Europe. And Greece is the leading country that provoking the other, European member. And the Cyprus issue is still there. So, and they're all alive. So in that condition, the Turkey is so, fragile country at the moment. And exposed to any changes, deteriorations in this international condition. Well, although I'm raising the issues in the politics and international relations, well, those problem has economic connections as well. Well, in the end, the market rules everything's in the open economy framework, and then the international investors and international organization, lending money to Turkey, all right, are highly affected by the changes in this environment. So this is one thing. Of course, the Turkey needs lots of resources within the country as well. While the most important problem today, and it will be in the future, is the growth problem. Turkey is not able to grow enough. The Turkey has to grow because, we have unemployment. Turkey has to grow because we have, poverty, prevailing in the country, and the income distribution issues. And in the end, all right, Turkey has to grow and increase the productivity of the country and all, economic system in order to gain some, valuations in its domestic currency. In order to have valuable Turkish lira, our, production sides of the economy has to be stronger than now. And you have to increase your productiveness and so on. Anyway, these are another issue. Well, what importance for me in the short run is that the Turkish public needs extra support from the Turkish government. They pay lots of money for years and years, and now this is the time for them to expect money, direct support from the government, all right, to continue to live on with a certain welfare.
Yes, exactly. Plus, considering the fact that we need to go to a more, kind of extensive lockdown, as experts, medical experts
True.
have suggested, this cannot be possible if individuals, business owners, and people in general, the citizens in general, are not receiving any aid.
That's why this campaign becomes so effective. All right. The 2 years ago or the years earlier, so the problem wasn't that high. Every day as the time goes by, so the all problems, economic and political problems, are accumulated, and it becomes so difficult to deal with by the public. All right. And the government's discourse, particularly the survival of the country, you see, usually the two parties coalition use so much. Well, all right, this discourse becomes so efficient at the moment. How can nobody cares about the survival if they are not survive themselves. All right, the people are struggling with their needs, their life. And most importantly, as I said, the health issue is extremely important. And I mean, the lack of that money, all right, the international reserves, and leave the central bank so vulnerable against any fluctuations, all right, fluctuations in the international market, as well as in Turkey, all right.
Professor Öner Günçavdı, thank you so much for having joined us and helped us understand this economic conundrum that we're facing at the moment.
All right, thank you very much for inviting me.
Turkish Interior Ministry launched a probe into 6 municipalities in connection with human smuggling schemes that help Turkish citizens migrate to Europe by issuing them a gray passport and scheduling fake events for them to attend.
The municipal human smuggling operation was initially discovered last week through the reports that 43 out of 45 people who had traveled to Hanover, Germany in September to attend an environmental workshop never returned home. The workshop had been organized by Malatya's Yeşilyurt municipality, run by the ruling Justice and Development Party. The Yeşilyurt municipality also issued special service passports for the attendees, which are also known as grey passports, that are reserved for public servants or for others traveling on official business. The issuing of special passports is reserved for city-arranged official travel, including the participation to folk dancing shows or other cultural programs. Last week, authorities removed 4 people from office as part of the investigation, including the deputy governor of Malatya. On April 19th, the Interior Ministry stated that it had widened its investigation into the scandal to include 6 more municipalities, which may have similarly helped smuggle people to Europe. The ministry also said that they suspended issuing the special state passports to those who are not public servants. The municipalities currently under investigation by the Interior Ministry are Gömeç in Balıkesir Province, Gölbaşı in Adıyaman Province, Yeşilova in Burdur Province, Yerköy in Yozgat Province, Suruç in Şanlıurfa Province, and Korgan in Ordu Province. It is yet unknown how many people may have benefited from the grey passport scheme. Over this, a proposal for a parliamentary inquiry was brought to the Turkish parliament on April 21st into the claims that some municipalities helped hundreds of people to travel or migrate to Europe illegally. However, lawmakers from the ruling AKP and its ally Nationalist Movement Party rejected this proposal. Medyascope editor-in-chief Ruşen Çakır shared his comments on the grey passport scandal of municipalities. Illegal immigration of Turkish citizens is not new, but it used to be either conducted individually or through some groups of people smugglers. But when grey passports and municipalities enter into this matter, it enters into a different dimension. Our government has not done anything other than announcing a temporary hold on grey passport distributions. There are some names involved in this case, and there is no information on what kind of process will be followed against them. The security forces that seem to appear the second someone posts a tweet are somehow not active in this matter. Passports are an indication of a country's dignity. Here, we see that the privilege of passports has been used for people smuggling for years. Frankly, It does not seem believable that this was going on without the knowledge of the government. But let's say that the government does not know and finds it out. Then, when they investigate it slightly, it appears that municipalities from every corner of Turkey have been doing this. It is ironic to note that one of the main arguments that these municipalities use is local and national.
Canadian mining company Alamos Gold has said it would file an investment treaty claim exceeding $1 billion against Turkey for expropriation and unfair and inequitable treatment regarding a halted gold mining project in the country's northwestern Çanakkale region.
In a statement Tuesday, Alamos said its Netherlands-based office would file an investment treaty claim against Turkey over the controversial Kirazlı gold mine project, which stalled in October 2019 after its mining concessions expired. Located in Mount Ida, the project was met with widespread public outcry in 2019 after large areas of forest were razed in preparations for the gold mine. The protests further continued over the project's planned use of cyanide, a toxic chemical used in gold extraction that can contaminate water resources and cause extensive harm to the environment. Alamos acquired rights to develop the land in 2010 and said it had since invested over $250 million for the project, but halted construction after the Turkish government did not renew the company's mining licenses. After 10 years of effort, we have been shut down for over 18 months in a manner without precedent in Turkey, despite having received all the permits required to build and operate a mine. The Turkish government has given us no indication that relief is in sight, nor will they engage with us in an effort to renew the outstanding licenses, Alamos said.
On May 31st, 2011, retired teacher Metin Lokumja died of a heart attack. The cause of the heart attack was the tear gas used by police intervening in a protest against then Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan's campaign rally in the northeastern city of Hopa. The lawsuit into his death has had its first hearing this week, nearly 10 years later, in the northeastern city of Trabzon, where 13 police officers, including the provincial and district police chiefs of the period, are being tried for causing death by negligence, with a demand of up to 6 years in prison. The Metin Lokumja case has the potential to be precedent-setting, as it is the first case in which use of tear gas is documented as the cause of death. The court board rejected all requests of the defense, who then raised a request for recusal. The next hearing of the case will be held on June 28th. And finally, let's take a look at the coronavirus-related numbers. According to the data released by the Ministry of Health, on April 22nd, the number of new cases announced was 54,791 and the death toll 354. In light of this data, the total number of cases has become 4,501,382 and the death toll has reached 37,329. That's all from This Week in Turkey. See you next Friday at 9 p.m. Good night.